All right. Good morning. We're going to today, using our PLC Micro 850 and our Panelview 800 HMI. I have a T4T, the screen. I showed you that before in previous videos. I also got to the start of my program here. I didn't go over how to start up a ladder logic program because if you've seen my two previous videos, you know that I had to name this to get to this point. I had to pick my PLC and so forth. So up here I named it a timer HMI, and we just got to this point right here so that we could do a quick timer program for you. And that's what I want to do today, a quick timer program, and then put it on a numeric display on the HMI for you. Okay, so again, we'll just bring down a button. This will be a momentary button when we go to do this, okay? And I'll use global variables and I'll call that PB. Okay, and then I'll bring down maybe I can shrink me a little bit, and I'll bring down a timer. I'll bring down a time on. Okay, I'm assuming you understand the logic behind a timer on. After so many seconds that you choose, your timer will come on and energize and output and so forth. Okay, so we're going to give this a value of T, and you have to go through a pound sign. I call it a pound sign. Young people today call it a hashtag. And how many seconds you want, so let's say we'll go with 6 seconds. Okay, so 6S will be good. Okay, so that accepted it, okay. Alrighty, and then over here we'll go into an ET. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll type in ET. Okay, and it's telling me it doesn't like that. Okay, so what I'll do then is go back into this, and I'll go to global variables. Okay, and I'll put in an ET in the global variables, and that's no longer Boolean. The push button was a Boolean, but the ET now, okay, is a time data. So we'll come down there where it says time. Okay, and then we'll click on that, and it's accepted. You see it's highlighted in green, so it accepted it. Okay, and then we'll go back, and then we'll add in our favorites, and we'll add an output to energize. This guy right here. And I'll go into the inputs and outputs, and I'll call this my motor. As I did before, I'll just bring in my small little motor there. So that's my program. Okay, and it looks okay. I could check it for errors real quick before I move on to the HMI. I won't download it just as yet. I'll download everything at one time. So it looks like one was succeeded, one build, one error check was succeeded, and so forth. Okay, so we're good to go with that. So now I'll move on to, I'll get rid of that. Okay, so let's move on to adding an HMI over here, adding a device. Okay, and I'm going to add a graphic terminal. It's a panel view, and I have the T4T. It's just a 4-inch. It's just a small device, right? Okay, and I'll select that from my project. And of course, it's asking for you to add that to your project. Double click on it, and we'll choose the landscape. Okay, now what I have to do is go back and see what kind of address I have that I can put in here. This is going to be, of course, Ethernet. Okay, so it's PLC 1. I only have one PLC up, Micro 800. Okay, and let's go into the this guy over here and see what component I have. It looks like I have this address right here, 169.254.62.43. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. Okay, since that's already connected and all. Okay, and what it's doing for me now is it's downloading that, and that's okay. I'm just not going to run it, but I'll re-download later on to make sure that the HMI and the PLC are in sync. Okay. Boom. So I'm going to go to program mode, and the reason is, as we said before, you can't do a lot of things in HMI if that PLC is actually running. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my to that guy, and I got to put that address in here, right? The IP address. So that's a 169.254.62, I think it was, and .43. Okay, and remember we hit enter, right? And leave that as enter. So we're ready to go. We have that, and we've kind of established communication. And then at this point, I'm going to set up my tags, which are very important, right? So we're going to add a tag, and of course, we're going to add that push button. Okay, and we know that that's a Boolean, and we know that address is over here under global variables. That's my push button. Okay, and we know that we're only dealing with one controller. It has to know that, which controller you're dealing with, right? And in tag 2, I could always do my motor if I wanted. We know that the motor is also an integer. I'm sorry, Boolean. Okay, and the motor we know over here is under that first address. Okay, and again, that's a PLC 1. Okay, then I'm going to add my final address. Okay, and I think that's an ET. Okay, and the best I can do here, there's no time under here, so I'm going to give it the largest integer. I give it a 32-bit integer. Okay, and then the address here, of course, is going to be under global ET, and we call that OK. And again, that's our PLC 1. Okay, so those are the things we're going to see on our HMI, right? We're going to see our push button, we're going to see the motor come on and off, and then we're going to see the time. Go ahead and time on a numeric display. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring up our screen, our first screen that we're working with, and let's start entering our things. Okay, and the first thing we want to enter, I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so let's get our maintain push button in there. Okay, and that'll be like so. And let's go ahead and get our multi-state indicator in there. Okay, well, we can bring over our numeric display too if we want first. Okay, and then we're going to add our multi-state indicator, which is up here. Okay. And now we can name these things, right? We could say that this is a read button. I'm sorry, it's a write tag, right? And it was our push button, right? So it has to understand that that's going to look at the push button on the PLC. All multi-state indicator, okay, that is a read button. Okay, that one I think I have right. Okay, and we'll go ahead and read that guy. That's going to read the motor. Okay, and also my push button I think needs, if we just hover over it, it says it needs an indicator tag as well. So I'm going to go up here to indicator tag and give that a PB as well. So that's satisfied, and our multi-state indicator is satisfied. It doesn't need an indicator tag there. Okay, and now we're going to set up this ET properties. Okay, so the read properties of that, okay, are going to be ET, right? It's going to see what's ever in ET. So you see it populated with a 0 already as we speak. Okay. So now let's go back and dress these things up because we don't like the way they look. Everything is just blue, right? And the size font and the color font and all that type of stuff. Okay. So if we go into this our guy here, and I'm going to set up a font that's more like pretty big, right? How about a 30? Would that work? Yeah, now I can see those numbers. Okay, and I think everything else there is going to be okay, but I do want to we'll leave it blue, the background, but we can change the background colors, of course, right? If you see up here all the colors and everything, but blue is fine for me right now. And if you just click on these, other colors will come up and you can make that. So we'll leave that one blue, okay? And then we'll go into our multi-state. Okay, it has two states, an on and an off, right? So multi-state 0, we'll call that off. Okay, and multi-state 1, we'll call that on. Okay, and the background color for when it's off, I'm going to make red. Okay, and the background color for when that's on, I'm going to make green. I get a green light to go. Okay, and then I'm going to go over again and play with a lot of these. The Arial is fine with me. I just like a larger font, so we'll go 20 and 20 and 20. Okay, and then I'll go large font and italic and so forth. All right, and we'll call that okay. Okay, so that's big enough for me to see. I like that. That's really good. And then finally on our released button, we'll double left click, and it's just a green button. That's not going to change whether it's pressed or not on your machine, so we'll leave it green. Okay, like so. And then released and pressed is fine. Okay, that'll be good. We'll make these a 20. Okay. And we can bold and capitalize those. I'm going to go back and maybe the caption color text, in this case, I'm going to make black. Okay, just to show you that you can do this too. Black, and that's okay. And we go up to released. Okay, so I have black lettering there. I have white lettering there. I could always change that if I want. And of course, I have the blue background here that I could have changed as well, but a pretty colorful screen, you know. And you can also throw some text boxes in here if you'd like. Under there you can throw a text box. I'll do one. Okay, so let's see if I can go here and see where it says text box here. You got numerical display and text, right? So I'll throw a text box over. Let's throw it over here. Okay, make it small, and inside there I'll just put the timer ET, estimated time, right? It's in that timer, and we'll hit OK. And again, you know, you could label these other guys as well. Maybe I could put this, and we'll close that for a second. And I could put this under here so it represents. And you could do the same thing with the others, right? Identify all these things, the push button, okay, and the motor itself. One last thing I might do is change that motor there from a rectangle to a circle, okay? Because my motor is circular, okay? So go ahead and check for validation. Is that a valid little program, or did I make some errors? And I'm hoping to see a 0 on both errors and warnings, which is good. And also right click, and we go ahead and download that. Okay, we'll download that. And we have a nice address up here. The 3150 is the panel view. We'll hit OK. Now I do have a program in here, so it's going to ask me if I want to stop my last program that I have in there, and I'll say yes. Okay, now let's go ahead and downloading our new program. Okay. And it's asking me, do I want to overwrite my old program? And we'll go ahead and start it. Yes, absolutely. Okay. And it says here start application was successful, and it is up on my PLC, and I'll show you that, or up on the HMI, and I'll show you that. That's that kind of right there. Okay, so go ahead, go back to my program, and maybe I'll re-download that just in case something's changed. Download, and this is downloading everything, of course, everything that we have. Okay. Download's complete. Now we'll take it into the run mode. Okay, I'll bring this over and I'll get rid of that. And we can go ahead and check this on our PLC first. I'll go ahead and right click and toggle that. And let's see if it starts timing. It does. You can see, and then when it gets to, I believe I put in 6 seconds. Okay, the motor comes on and you can see that it's highlighted over there. Okay. And I'll go ahead and stop that. Now let's see if we can operate this from the HMI. Okay, so we'll bring this back and I'll bring my camera over. Okay. I'll make that large for you. Okay. So this is actually the HMI. Okay, right? And there's the motor. And then there's the PLC there. So let's see if I can go ahead and start this and see if the time where it says 0, if the time starts to build. And it does, right? There's 2 seconds. There's 5 seconds. 6 seconds. The motor comes on. Okay. And then of course your address on the PLC, address 0, output 0 is on in that position. Okay. And then of course I could also stop it from here. Okay. If I hit my button, it stops, resets to 0, and then my motor indicator goes off. Okay. I'll go ahead and reset my camera. So there it is. So we have a timer, how to set up a timer, how to set up the tags and all that type of stuff, you know, for a timer on the HMI T4T and the PLC Micro 800. All right, I'll sign off for now. Thank you.